So it sent a signal to not just Iran, but all of its enemies that Israel had a capability that nobody ever believed it had.
Talk to us about how operations against the regime and its capabilities and its threats toward Israel, and frankly, I would argue to the Western world, talk to us about where those stand, what has been achieved, and why, in the event of the ceasefire holding, you believe that Israel is in a safer position.
The facts are is that, especially Iran, its ability to attack Israel is less today. Its strategy of, which was, you've got to give your enemy credit, a very legitimate strategy of building this ring of fire around Israel in order to do proxy warfare. Doesn't matter if you're Sunni, Shia, Iran supported them with billions of dollars. I mean, they sent billions of dollars to what's left of Hezbollah just last year because it's not done with this strategy. But so let's talk the 12-day war and be truthful on what Israel did during that operation unilaterally. So it sent a signal to not just Iran, but all of its enemies that Israel had a capability that nobody ever believed it had, which is the ability to do long range, to include striking farther than it's ever in its history, first with Iran and then with the Houthis in Yemen. Its ability to do the operations, I think, should be given its own chapter in history of what it did on the 12-day war. Of course, the Mossad intelligence penetration of the Islamic regime to do the operation on the opening day that kills all the generals, that kills all the nuclear scientists, that does degrade and pause and roll back the nuclear program, trip ballistic missile launchers, so much so. And I think the straight facts is, if you look at what happened in April of 2024, of course, the largest ballistic missile strike of another nation by another nation in history, which was over 180 ballistic missiles, the current operation, it doesn't try that again because Israel had a 90% success rate in stopping the missiles, a 99% rate of stopping the drone. And you've seen since Operation Epic Fury, Roaring Lion, Iran is attacking all of its neighbors more than it's trying to attack Israel. And that's because of its degraded capability and Israel showing its strength, both in offensive capability, because if you launch one missile, whatever you did to launch it is now very vulnerable to, you lost that capability. And, again, going to Iran's ability, it's its means. Of course, it has the will, although if you look at what's happened recently, of course, Israel killed 40 senior leaders during the 12-day war. That's just incredible in the history of war. Going into this war, now it's over 30 to include the supreme leader, which, all this does matter for me in its will to continue to do what it thinks it can do, not just in its means, but of course, in the last 40-ish days in this operation, Israel and the United States have severely taken away the Islamic regime's means to produce more means, right? Because this is what most people don't talk about. And I don't really get into the article because it's so long. What has been destroyed, not just their rocket supplies, right? They had 2,500 rockets. They wanted to get to 8,000 really rapidly to build this missile. Again, you can do it in the proxy element of Hezbollah. You become so great that the cost of doing anything against you becomes too much for anybody to pay. Because if Israel is actually an existential threat, Israel has to not allow that to happen, especially with a nuclear weapon. But Iran wanted this ballistic missile shield so that it could wreak this havoc, which is what Iran, for me, has really done, is validate what Israel has said, United States intelligence have said from the beginning, that it wants all these capabilities to do harm and terror and other things to everybody else. And that's what you've seen. But in the last 40 days, what was not done during the 12-day war, which was, again, we can talk to tactics, what happened, but strategically, Israel burst onto the stage as this not only willing but able nation, and as U.S. leadership has said, also willing and able and capable, the kind of ally we want in any war force, which is unique. And I think, Benjamin, you would know, but historically, like, that's just incredible that this 78-year-old nation has that ability to now fly side by side with the world's only superpower and match its capabilities and join in this very necessary operation. But what has been done in the last, so there's 12-day war, of course, strategically, this operation is rolling back the Islamic regime's capability to build another missile, to build another centrifuge, to have a navy that threaten the Strait of Hormuz. Of course, all the uncertainty, I don't know where this is going. And that's why I didn't say that Israel will be safer for the rest of time. I said it's safer today, and Iran is weaker today. And who knows what will happen in Iran from the economic costs of continuing its strategy. But if you want to do the long game, Iran bet on this strategy to destroy Israel. And as of today, that has failed miserably. And Israel has climbed out of the dust as a much stronger nation that is both stronger and safer today.